Kia ora te whānau and welcome to Stitch and Spindle with Waiheke. I'm Cher, coming to you from Waiheke Island in Auckland, Aotearoa. So today we've got lots of birds singing. It's a little bit chilly this morning. We got as cool as a whole 8 degrees this morning, and we even had frost. I haven't had frost up here. I've been up here for 11 years. We've had a little bit of black ice occasionally, but we haven't had proper frost for ages, which is fantastic for the stone fruit. I'm super excited for that. I've just come back from retreat and I have an interview for you from Sarah Shepherd from Knit Shepherd, and I hope you enjoy the interview. And if you stick around till the end of the interview, I will show you what I got up to at retreat. Okay, I finally got to film something at retreat. It's taken me 16 years. Because I'm always too busy. Anyway, this is Sarah. I'll let her introduce you, because this is my new friend. I just met her and we were talking at lunch yesterday and I went, oh my God, I've got to interview this woman.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. So I'm Sarah Shepherd, is what my most of my knitting's been done under. Where did I start? I could go right back to the beginning. Should I go right back to the beginning?
Yeah.
So I could start, I could go back to the fact that a neighbour was a really good sewer. And my mum she was okay at sewing, but my neighbour was so good, and she used to make me like Barbie clothes and stuff like that, like gold lyrics. And I was like, oh my God, I've got to do this too. So started crafting. And because my mum wasn't the one doing, I think no one was telling me how to do it, so I just went for it and I crafted, and then that moved into knitting, and so this is all of my teenage years. And then when I got to university time, I went off and did engineering, and it just didn't fit me. And in my weekends and my holidays, I would be knitting, and that sort of began. I kind of thought I could keep doing my fashion stuff in the weekends. I would do photo shoots, I'd make clothes for myself, I would knit, and realised that really my real passion wasn't engineering and civil engineering, design bridges, it was designing clothes and textiles. And then from that got into, luckily I was in London and I got working for next to nothing, but I worked for a fashion designer over there and assisted him. And because I'd just made so much stuff, I was ready to go, and it was really helpful for him, even though I had no qualifications in there. And then I came back, did fashion and textiles here, and then got a job working in the movie industry and textiles.
Yes.
And so textiles became, it grew even bigger than the sewing and the designing I loved, but making fabrics and pieces, amazing. And that, I think knitting's in that world, but also knitting had that maths thing, which was my engineering brain, and so I was really lucky getting into the film industry because there was a place that I could make a living.
Yeah.
And I started out in the dye house, and then soon moved into the printing and painting, anything really to do with textiles. So I did lots of different jobs, travelled around the world. I am probably in my my late 20s. I was really lucky, came back to New Zealand, I worked on the Narnia movies.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, they're so cool. And a lovely team of people, so generous and wonderful and creative. And I got to do the felted dress for the nun, the White Witch in Tilda Swinton. And I still feel like that's my favourite thing I've ever made. The whole process was fun. Tilda was incredible. But also the designer was so open and would just come into me and go, okay, I've got this idea that I want it to be like a glacier ice that changes like a mood dress. And then you just giving you different ideas, silk and wool and felting it and seeing what happens. And these are the colours we could work on, and getting that really glacial blue through to a really dirty, dark, kind of dirty snow kind of colour. So that was a really fun costume. And then it was after actually working, I was working on a job with that same design and team in Prince Caspian, and after that I had some downtime and I was in London, because you have a film job really intense and then nothing, and I started writing patterns for Ravelry, in that time, and I just had one that went really well and couldn't quite believe it. I kept on thinking I should do some more of that. Like, that kind of works. And then yeah, just kept designing in that space of knitting, and there's so much to learn. Like I still feel like a complete novice.
Looking at just braiding does my head in.
Oh yeah, the grading.
Yeah.
That took, like, I became a complete spreadsheet nerd, and then I was like, I'm totally back in engineering world. When you do grading for patterns. Yeah, so I feel really lucky. I just through that curiosity and just follow my nose and loving the process of
No
it.
plan.
And no plan, exactly.
Yeah.
I did lots of patterns. Then I started writing patterns for other companies like Knitpicks, and I was in the UK at the time, and I had little kids, so I couldn't really travel with my film work anymore. And the hours you worked was really long, and so I was probably, it was at that point I got a little studio in Finsbury Park near where we lived, and I just would go there and do pattern writing, and then do the odd film job when they wanted knitting for the films. And then just kept kind of that practice of just doing and making whatever, like you said, no plan. And then I got, probably my favourite bit in that period was I got a piece accepted for Brooklyn Tweed in one of their wallpaper collections, which was really, I was one little goal, and when I got it, couldn't believe that.
It was pink.
Exactly. And then I had a lot of people saying to me, oh, I'd love it, but I don't knit. Would you knit it for me? No, I don't, not going to knit for you.
That all the time,
you get it. And that was when I sort of thought, well, maybe I could learn how to program knitting machines and then start like making products that I sell. Engineering brain came back. And I loved, and I actually really enjoyed that process. So I went to AUT, did my master's there, and then since then I've launched a label called Knit Shepherd, and in that I do like kind of gift level, like they're all like wrist warmers and little neckerchief scarves and bigger scarves and hats. And I wanted to take the hand knitting stitches I knew and then translate them into knitting machine programs, so that they've got all that detail that we love as knitters. Like, you know, we love a rolled edge, and we love a stitch that, you know, goes, you know, a slip stitch that's next to a purl stitch that, you know, just seeing all that detail. And so that's what I've tried to do with my, and just kind of little colour changes and things that work. So I've tried to put that kind of craft back into that more mass manufactured knitting. But and I'm really lucky. I've got a little a woman I work with who's in sort of Mount Wellington, Covery, and she is a really talented technician and has her own machine, and just one machine in her backyard. And we work together on the, like, I'll do some of the program, and then when I need the genius to come in and finish it off, because you do need that, she comes in and sorts it out for me, and then she'll do all the production and manages that, and then I do all the sort of sales and marketing and get that out. So it's been a cool little journey. And
then you come to Creative Fibre. How did you find Creative Fibre?
So I still do lots of costume things, and all kind of that kind of project. And there was a job making the Waitoa Chicken. They wanted these, or actually the ad agency wanted to do an ad where the people were sitting eating dinner, and then they just are feeling all warm and cozy, and they turn into knitted versions of themselves. So someone said to me and said, well, you're the hand knitting nerd that I think they need. And so I hand knit those puppets. We had a puppeteer who did all the bases, and then I just made all the expression, like just having this chunky wool and then trying to get them to look like, have the same little dimples as the little boy, or, you know, all that stuff. And who I was working with was Anne McGrath, who's also here. And she, we started talking, and she just was wearing these beautiful handspun sweaters, and I've been wanting to learn handspun for ages. So I said to her, I want to do this, how did you start? And then she started talking to me about two sort of places she goes in, communities of spinners and knitters and crafters, and one was the Avondale Library Textile Tuesdays. So I started doing that, and then she said, if you want to kind of do a little bit more serious spinning, why don't you come along to my other one? And that was the Kaipatiki group. And that's been they've been I mean, it's amazing. You go there.
It's a wonderful community.
It's such a cool community.
Yeah.
And they're just constantly like, oh, just try this, just try that. Or you'll have some ideas and you put them down and everyone will give their like opinions, and doesn't feel judgy or it's just like, have you tried? What do you think about this? Or
we're here to enable.
Yeah.
And people, they want you to succeed, and so they want to carry you along that journey.
Yeah.
And just wrap you around and just isn't it? Yeah.
It's so cool.
That's what I love about the whole fibre community.
Yeah.
The care, always if I'm having to moderate a meeting, I presume I'll get a call if someone can't do it, and I'll go, just make sure such and such, everyone has a turn to talk, that this person's a bit shy, so bring them out, and I'm just going, what? How amazing is that you've got these people that are just, they don't make it overstated, it's just in the background, and they'll just go, okay, could you just check this as a thing and make sure that we bring them along and they're not left out. Because I've often been in those big group Zoom meetings, and people, I kind of disappear, and there's no one looking after to make sure everyone's
been seen,
or heard. Or heard, and that's not the case here.
It's been cool actually. And even we talked about it after one session, because I had all these different ideas for a sweater I was making, and I was spinning the yarn, and when I brought it in and I put the thread out and I said, okay, I'm bringing them here for opinion, like I actually want you to. And they all had the discussion afterwards, but then all of them started talking about how they all felt like this was a group they were comfortable to do that with.
Yes.
And it wasn't, so it was less about what my project was, but it's actually they were all reflecting on that's something they like. That they could do that and not feel like someone was going, well, that's not the way you do it. And doing the socks with Kylie
this afternoon. She goes, it's not a race, you just do it at your own pace. No, there's no wrong or right way, you can only magic loop or this or that or the other. What makes you feel comfortable?
Totally.
Like, wow.
Yeah. And I actually think, as I've kind of gone on with my my craft, I think one of the things that I found really amazing was, there was a point in my life before I went back to doing this hand knitting, I was a mum at home and looking after my little kids, and I was having a real moment. I had really bad pain, a chronic pain condition, and it was after the birth, just sort of birth issues as you do. But I think I was quite stressed, and I did find out that I was quite stressed, and just running around after two little kids. And I went to as part of I went to physio for my pain. And I saw a pain consultant who gave me medication for my pain. And then there was also in the clinic, there was a pain psychologist. So I went and saw them, and it was so cool because she sat me down and she started talking to me about what I did before I had kids and I was sort of saying, I was an engineer, but I kept on coming back to craft, and I've always come back to making things with my hands. And she said to me, I need to tell you something. You need to stop thinking about your craft and your making as something that you want to do, and actually need to put it into a category of you need to do it. And it was such a powerful message. And I think now that I'm more teaching people, because now I run little workshops at times, or I have in Devonport I've been doing these little small classes with the First Thursdays event, and when I started teaching people and I've got a little group that come over to my newbie knitters that come to my house, I started realising that knitting is so much more, or crafting, so much more than the making things. It's not about the things, it's about, there's something about moving your hand. And that psychologist said to me, that crossing your midline with two hands, she said, it's doing really good things for your brain. And I think what I feel when I'm teaching people is that they're getting so much more from it. Sometimes it's just the rhythm of them taking them out of their anxiety spirals. Sometimes it's that they have a feeling of accomplishment even though they've been sitting and relaxing. And all those things, I think, is what is so wonderful about it.
Sitting down with somebody and not having to talk. That comfortable silence that you can you can't reach that just in any social situation. But on, was it last weekend, Sunday, it was a rainy day, my 96-year-old wasn't 100%.
Yeah.
I sat there for 4 hours, carding my wall, and she was reading her paper.
Oh, nice.
And I went, you know, these are memories.
Yeah.
And it was comfortable silence for hours, and she really enjoyed it because she didn't feel like she had to talk.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I had to talk.
Yeah.
It was company.
Yeah.
And the other thing, you know, when you're working away, something will pop into your head, and this, you know, over the weekend we've had people sharing things that have been significant life events.
Yeah.
So being able to talk about those things.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, it's just talking and not asking anyone to fix anything, just verbalising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the setting is this. You know, it's I'm moving our hands, and it's not a sitting and kind of I'm going to investigate, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, and there's something really freeing. The setting is this relaxed, gentle movement that just gets us into a place where we can let it go and let stuff out. Or
Yeah, I went to a pain specialist about 3 weeks ago, I think it was, after 11 years, just saying. Did trigger me a bit, but at the end he goes, well, you know, he didn't suggest anything. He said, well, I can't suggest anything because I already found out the right medication for myself, because I had to navigate that myself. And then I told him all about my crafting. My daughter came with me. She's just about to finish her degree in psychology, and I'm going, and I've done this. And she goes, no, it's not relevant. It's funny. You know, but I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. I'm doing this 100-day stitch. I have a community. I'm doing, and he said, you're doing all the right things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah, and you just had. I mean, for me, I just had to come to that conclusion. I just living with pain. It is what it is. I just get on with it. And having a 96-year-old, what is it? Just get over yourself. It's wonderful. That's advice that her grandmother gave her. And for so many times, you know, the stuff that she's been through in her life, she just picked herself up and got over it. And looking at her, well, she's my knitting mentor as well. So I learnt to knit. All I could do when I met her was knit and purl. I'm a left-hand knitter, I'm dyslexic, and she took me to the next level. Taught me continental knitting, you know, turning a heel, all those things.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. And I mean, and I love the intergenerational connection.
It's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we're just bridging over so many generations.
100%.
Yeah.
All the stuff's I feel is so familiar. My mum, I'm teaching her knitting. You know, she knows how to knit, but I teach her new stitches, and also she'll come to me and say, what's my next project? Like, she's so funny. Like, and she's, and then I've also got my niece, and she adores knitting, and I help facilitate her knitting, and I help her, but also I've got my sister-in-law. Like, it's just a spread of, and and they've all in different ways thanked me for different ways that the knitting has helped them through whatever it is. Like, even, you know, I know that, you know, some of those it's that they love being in a group, but they feel they don't want to talk, they want to be present, and the knitting gives them this anchor that they can sit in a group and not have to, like that comfortable silence you're talking about. They feel comfortable sitting in the group, whereas if the knitting wasn't there, they would feel like they'd have to go and do the washing up or tidy up or sort something out or be and do, and actually they can be and do right here.
And then you've got the evil friends like Mika, who, after I said I'd never ever do another Stephen West surprise song ever again after the first one, which was 4 years ago. She goes, go on. I said, okay, so I am. I cast on evil Mika. I'm just saying, evil. But it's, you know, you have those special friends that will take you down rabbit holes.
Yes,
I've done that.
Absolutely.
I've done that with my friend Bernadette.
Yes.
I've known her for I don't know how many years now. Time is after COVID, I can't work out years anymore. And it took me, I don't know, a couple of years, but she's knitting. And so when I chat to her, she's going, I've done another square. And she's knitting squares for the hospital.
Yeah.
And so she said, I'm really loving this.
Yeah.
She used to knit and she doesn't know what she wants to knit, so she's just knitting squares.
Yeah.
And it's a happy place.
Oh, it's so good.
First
That's
I got
what I'm
addicted.
doing. The squares is, I think, that's how I started this, what I call the First Thursdays group, is the Swatch Club. Because I realised this, a little square, and you didn't have to have a use, was a great place for people to anchor a project, and that they could feel accomplishment, but it's not a sweater, and it's not something that's wearable. And actually, a lot of people graduate from that and then just go on to dishcloths, because it's square, little, and they can achieve something. And also, if it's really awkward, it still can be used as a dishcloth. It's a great dishcloth. If you've done too many increases or something and it's too wide, or it'll all work. Yeah.
And my friend Bernadette, I got her first addicted to Rowan felted tweed.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. And then I took her to Lupine the other week, her first visit to a craft shop.
Exciting.
To a knitting
and
shop.
what does she see?
Yeah,
everything.
And she bought 2 Zara balls and
amazing.
And Suri 2-ply and mohair 2-ply. So I'm going to get her into that cult next, knitting 2 strands held together.
Yes, yeah, it's such a cult. Good cult.
Good cult, yeah. I should talk about what we're wearing. This is the Paloma. It used to be a free pattern, but no longer is. Has a high collar in the original pattern, but I just didn't knit the high collar. I just did 10 rows and then went into the sweater. It is knit with a 2-ply possum silk merino. I think 2 balls. I didn't use 2 skeins. I didn't use all of the skeins, and I don't know how many balls of was it Rowan felted tweed? No, sorry, kid silk case. Kid silk case. That one on a 4.5mm needle with a little design feature here. I liked the slip stitches down here, so I just included it under the arms there, and that was my mod. And it's quick knit and it's great for all time weather. Yeah,
and I think I'm going to make it too. Because I really like it.
So on Ravelry it's got a high neck, but you just don't knit it. So it's just loose knitting.
And that looks really nice.
Yeah.
Because I've got it eyed up for a summer sweater that you just could wear on a cool evening.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And
so mine is the Onawa sweater that is a Brooklyn tweed pattern. I can't remember the name of the designer who did this, but I've been admiring it for ages, and it actually comes with sleeves. And then I was given this yarn by accident by Brooklyn Tweed. They sent the wrong yarn to me. They're supposed to send the loft, which is finer, and then they said just keep it, and it was the perfect amount to make it. And my mod was that I just added some short rows at the back to make it slightly longer so it didn't stick out at the back. And it's incredibly useful. This is a layer. Yeah. They love it. And it's really easy.
All the fun stitches in the game.
The fun stitches. It's really fun. But I just love the rhythm of all those lines.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Yeah, I looked at it and went, wow. Okay, so we probably should go and pack up because we've got to be out of here by 3. Yeah. And we've got show and tell happening, which is really cool. We'll just lead each other down more rabbit holes. Just basically have a notepad. And
I'm next project. Project number 3, project number 15.
Yeah, and it's just so inspiring. But I love how the very talented people. So when I first started Creative Fibre, I had a skill level about here, but I've just been carried along. And wonderful with having Kim on board, she'll notice that you've got a skill or a talent, and she will go, right, you're doing this class.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's wonderful. I like the support we have here.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Sarah. I'll put all the links and stuff. You give me all your details, and I'll put that in the description below, so you can find her and her amazing knits. And thank you for joining us and sticking through to the end. And I finally did a filming.
At the retreat.
At a retreat.
Yeah.
I went, I'm going to do it.
Oh, thank you. This has been so nice to you. And thank you so much.
So, ka kite anō.
Ka kite.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
There you go. Excellent. Fun, you did it. I hope you liked that interview with Sarah Shepherd from Knit Shepherd. I finally got a chance to do an interview at retreat. Usually I'm too busy retreating, We've been going for 16 years. St. Francis Retreat Centre is in Hillsborough and Auckland, and we descend upon the lovely friars twice a year, July and September retreat. We started off with one a year, and it was so popular that we had to do two. So, and that was the brainchild of Kim O'Connor. So anyway, it was a fantastic retreat. I taught a slow stitch class, and some of the people in my class have been making a hussif now for 4 years. They only make the hussif when, or do slow stitching when they come to a retreat, and it's something they normally wouldn't do, so they just come along, and once a year they'll work on their hussif. And I think Nicole's nearly finished hers, and Gemma finished hers at last. Gemma had only been working on hers for 2 years, I think. Pretty chill these days. We used to be a lot more I don't know, not organised, but we ran it in a different way. So now we just sort of kind of work out an idea of what classes people want. We also have a big whiteboard, and we write down what skills people may want to share. And I've learnt quite a lot at retreat, just even by sitting there and just being there. You don't have to do anything. It's retreat, you can do anything you want. Sometimes we have traders at retreat, and this time we had Terry Berry, and I grabbed a couple of superfine merino top for spinning. I want to over dye these, so I might turn that into a video for the channel to show what happens when you use the same colour and over dye it on a base of grey. So that's my excuse for buying those two. And then I got 2 skeins of lace weight merino. There's 800 meters in each skein. I do have the other tag somewhere, so I think it's still in my suitcase. So I bought 2 because that will be enough for a garment. I can over dye that and put it with some mohair, and I've got a garment. And these were $15 each. I'll put Terry Berry's details below. I did a workshop with Kylie, and she has a Instagram, and she has a podcast as well with Jill. I'll put the links down below for both the podcast and her sock engineer. I think that's what she's called on Instagram. So she's got a sock machine, and she knits these sock tubes, which are fantastic. And with these sock tubes, she showed us how to do an afterthought heel, which is basically a toe, and work out the measurements that you need for your foot and everything, and to do a little cuff. Super fun, great for gift knitting. So this is my little shorty sock. So when I'm wearing my Blundstones, and I'm wearing tights, and I just need a little extra layer of warmth on my toes, on my cold toes, I pop on a little pair of shorties, and I don't want it sticking over the top of my Blundstone, so that's perfect. So I'll get another one that matches even, because I can even line it up. That is the same size, not about the same size, it will be the same size. So I'm going to take it from this end here and make another pair of shorties, so that will take it up to the orange, and then I will have enough left over. I divide what's left over in half. I have enough for a pair of longer socks as well, or I could keep on just doing shorties, but I might do some longer socks just for fun. There's also a D-stash, and I did get something. This was from my friend Nicole. It's kind of like, got the feeling of mohair, but I was thinking I might spin it up for socks. I've never spun tees water, so I was keen to get it, and I love the colours too, so that was a good reason. I can make some socks, some more socks. Brioche cardigan, which is Nordlig, and I was going to leave it home, but I really need to wear this, and I want it finished. So I'm nearly there. I have done the 2 front panels, and I'm now working on the back. The back is a lot longer in the brioche, and it's taking longer. I've probably got another 10 or so rows to go. I just do a quick measure, and I've been counting down the little brioche these down here, so I know that it's going to be the right length. Yeah, so I think I've got about 10 rows left to catch up to there. The instruction says to put the brioche button band on first, which you can customise, which is fantastic, before you knit the back. But I thought I will knit the back and then put it on, and then I can work out exactly where I want the buttons. Then I'll do the brioche band, and then I'll finish off with the ribbing down here. That is the plan. Going well so far, but I just need to stick to it because I keep on wanting to pick up several other knitting projects. I am knitting the Stephen West surprise sock along as well, but I'll show you that. I don't want to spoil any surprises, so I'll show you that in a later video. And the main thing I wanted to finish was a big spin that I had done. Now we have Jumbuck has these great big bags of Jumbuck Jumbles, and they're the end bits of odd colours that Sharon Dooney matches up, 500 gram plus lots in a bag, and they range from about $30 to $40. Fantastic bargain. Now a couple of years ago at Retreat, Donna had one such beast of a bag of fibre, and I went, oh, how can you control the colour with all that floof, and I didn't want it to get muddy. So I saw what Donna had done with her Jumbuck Jumble, and the floof, when it comes out from the carder, Sharon has got a couple of colours sort of running together, and what you can do is actually gently pull that apart, and it doesn't matter if a little bit of either colour gets into the other colour, but you can generally pull it off and get a good long colour repeat, which is what I've done here. So this is the second Jumbuck Jumble that I have brought, and I decided to wet felt this to make it into a felted single. Now this is about 600 grams, and I've ended up putting it into two skeins. One skein's bigger than the other, and I felted it the other day. Have a video for that, but you can see I almost went too far with the felting here, but it's fine. This is easier to see here. You can see the long colour repeats, so that will knit up really well, or possibly weave. Maybe I'll weave something with this. I just love all those earthy colours. Yeah, really happy with how that one turned out. So that's how I decided to treat the colour, especially with the long repeats. I wanted to keep the long repeats, so single was the way to go, and wet felt it for extra balance. It has got a bit sticky in the felting process, but that can be just pulled apart. I didn't go too far, but just far enough. 600 grams of I don't know what I'm going to do with. Now, and I spun that on my Aura with my overdrive bobbin. The first one that I spun, this one I decided to chain ply it, and this is about 500 grams. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking maybe I've done a little swatchy swatch on a 5mm needle here, and I really like the stocking stitch. I was going to see if I could make something else with it, but I've just definitely decided stocking because I really like the fabric of it. I would like to knit a Felix jumper. That's on a 6mm needle, so I might just have to finagle and do some maths around the sizing. So I might go up a size bigger than I normally would and knit it on the 5mm, because I really like the fabric, how that's turned out, and I think it'll be too holey on a 6, but I'll give it a go and see if I like the fabric. So that's my possible plan for that one. I was also spun on my Aura with the overdrive bobbin, so I could fit all of the yarn on there. So there's, you know, no yarn breakages in this at all. So it will be just one happy big knit, like knitting off a cone. I'll show you with the Jumbuck Jumble. I might grab another one. I might have to buy a third one just to show you how to work out with the do all the colour management. I think that's a good idea. So the next time I see Sharon Dooney, I might have to buy another one, and I can now because I've spun up these two, so it's completely okay, completely. Anyway, I'd like to do a little shout out and a hi to the lovely people that have been leaving fantastic feedback and comments on my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. I'd like to say hi to Pam, Susan, Karen, and there was somebody else. Hang on, I'll get my notebook. Yes, and Jennifer, Christina, and Raven. Thank you very much for all your kind words. It really means a lot. I hope you enjoyed the interview and a little taste of retreat. Ka kite anō, until next time.